Hello everyone, MangaMatt here with my year-end retrospective of 2011, which this will be my summation of everything I've gotten and started reading or reread in its entirety this year. And of course, I wish that I had done more reviews this year, but I kind of lost my job at where I was working, and well, when you're unemployed, you just don't feel like doing kind of the other stuff you do because you're constantly thinking, I could be looking for a job right now. But I've tried to at least do something a little bit here and there. In any case, it's at least a fine escape from not being employed. I mean, I do enough on the side to make enough money so that I'm not completely broke, but just not having a place to go and work is just not really great, sort of feeling like you're trapped. But enough of that depression. I'm just gonna go right into what's going on here. It's gonna be the same thing as last year, with the same categories of last year. So first up here we have, first I'm going to run through all the other stuff and then do the best ofs. So it's a little more organized than what I did before. Alright, so starting off here, the series that have ended this year that I'm happy to see end the fond farewell, which includes really only 3 manga titles that I could think of. I've gotten so much this year that I didn't even try to look at like the manga updates or anything to try and remember what I actually got. But I sort of just went on what I can remember, because that's what I should go on, is what stuck from January to right now is what should really be the best of that. Alright, so things that I'm sad to see go. iShield 21, which just ended this year, which I always loved this series. I think it's the best sports manga for anyone that wants to read a sports manga and see it done well. It's high-octane action, and it's a lot of fun. A few of the things in there that aren't necessarily accurate to football, which mostly involves, since it's high school football, it's okay to let it slide. Like the fact that the team is made up is just 11 people playing offense and defense for the football team, and well, I guess when you're looking at professional football, that doesn't fly. But I guess since it's high school football, that's a lot more common. I'm only really familiar with professional football in that respect, so I'm kind of seeing things on a more serious level than the way it's probably played in high school. And about the only other thing aside from that is the wishbone formation, which was touched upon in iShield 21 as this really awesome tactic for football. But the only problem with the wishbone formation, of course, is the fact that that's a very quarterback heavy maneuver, and well, in the NFL you want to shy away from anything that could potentially hurt or injure your quarterback, because the NFL, of course, doesn't have a lot of quarterbacks to go around, and if you injure a quarterback, that's your team right there. And so in the NFL there are just a bajillion different rules about what you can and can't do when sacking a quarterback, and they do everything they can to prevent any kind of play that would require the injury of a quarterback. So all I'm saying is a lot of things in here that I don't think work in a realistic setting. But of course, none of that really matters, because it's all a comic, and they do crazy, outrageous stuff in here anyway. And more than anything else, the characters are fun, they gel well, and that's really impressive given that there are 11 big characters in this series that you're focusing on, and that's just the main team. Not even talking about when they actually go into specifics with some of the characters on other teams. So the fact that they're able to create that many different fun and enjoyable characters is a real testament to how great the series is. The other ones here, Detroit Metal City, which I'm more so glad that it ended because it really was on its peak, and I really felt like that the series wasn't going in a way that I think that it could have maintained itself. Like, I watch Metalocalypse, and I've gotten every single season that's come out, and I think that Brendan Small, with his work on it, he could just, I feel like there's no slowing down for that series, that every episode just is phenomenal, out of the park. But with Detroit Metal City, it's more like there's kind of this path that it's trying to go, and I felt like by about volume 7 that it was really kind of going on a bit too long, and I'm really glad that it ended at 10 because I really thought that this had kept going and going. This couldn't have made like 15 or 20. There was just no way. I was just reading this going, this needs to end, and soon, if it wants to stay on top. And it did, and I'm glad, because sometimes you can tell when a series has gone on a little too long, and it's really great when they sort of cut it off right there. Kind of like The Honeymooners. I know that's a really old series, but if you look at it, that series went on just the right amount of time that it needed to. It didn't feel old, it never got worn out, it just stayed well. And I'm really glad that it ended, just because we only have the good stuff. It never went bad. And then also, this is one that I've been waiting forever to finally come out, to finally finish this series and finally get that. And that is Rave Master, the 3-in-1 promised to us the readers by Kodansha Comics, formerly Del Rey, to finally get this thing out. And they put it out in a 3-in-1 just to get the whole thing done in one swoop. And to be fair, putting it in a 3-in-1 actually does feel proper, because all three of these these three last volumes are pretty much just an entire final battle for everything on the line. So the fact that they did it like this, it actually does feel right as far as the way the pacing and the plot goes for these last 3 volumes. And I'm just glad it's finally out there, because Rave Master had been going on for a long while, and it was actually the first, one of the first manga series I ever it was the first series that I got of Tokyo Pop, but when I was getting it, like, Volume 8 had just come out, and all the other manga series I was getting at the time, they were just starting out, like One Piece, Naruto, Shaman King. All of these had like 1 or 2 volumes, and Rave Master was the first one that, with 8 volumes, that I could really get invested in and really get pulled into, because there was so much I could just read of it. And I got pissed when it stopped, because it was only 3 away from it, and it was 2 years later, I think, and we finally got it, and I'm glad. So all of you can now go and get it, because I really feel like it's an underrated shonen manga series. It has a great world and a lot of fun, and the characters are great. If you're reading Fairy Tail, I suggest Rave Master, because I actually like Rave Master more than Fairy Tail. To be fair, I haven't read that much of Fairy Tail, but reading Fairy Tail is like I'm reading kind of a watered-down Rave Master. Now, I'm sure it probably gets better later on, but I'm just not interested in it right now. I mean, maybe if, like, I found an eBay auction of, like, a nice sizable chunk, like maybe 4 or 5 of the volumes for, like, 20 or something of that magnitude, I'd get into it, but it's just, I've got so much right now that I'm fine where I am right now. But that takes care of those, and we'll move on to the best ofs. I mean, the next section. Sure. Here we go.